This is the worst case I've ever handled.
Ice baths and isolation and sensory deprivation were appropriate means of punishment.
For some of it, yes, sir.
You look like that when you put them in the bathtub?
She was not able to be brought up today. She's having some emotional and mental difficulties with this entire process.
We find her guilty of first-degree felony murder.
Child killer Shonda Vander Ark playing the blame game. Now she's blaming her defense attorney and demanding a new trial. We're counting down to her court hearing this morning. Plus, Anna Kepner's stepmom wants court documents sealed from the public. Why she filed for a gag order amidst the 18-year-old's death investigation. And a shocking abuse case out of Wisconsin. A teen weighing only 35 pounds was allegedly locked away by her morbidly obese family for years. Also this hour, we are on Wendy Watch. Could Donna Adelson's daughter be charged by Thanksgiving? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Tuesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? It's that time where we get you all warmed up here on Court TV and ready for the big day ahead. So let's start it off as we always do. We got a tremendous show planned. Grab a cup of coffee or tea, or if you're one of our friends across the pond, grab whatever you're having at lunchtime. It's time for my opening statement. Shady Shonda wants a new trial. Shonda Vander Ark claims that she's deserving of a new trial after she was convicted of the murder of her 15-year-old special needs son, Timothy. Part of Shady Shonda's claims involve accusing her lawyer of being ineffective. I watched that whole trial. As a matter of fact, he was very effective. This woman, who, let's remember, is also a lawyer herself, is so manipulative and so diabolical that she faked sudden illness when she took the stand and was handed an autopsy photograph of her son. But did you know that a week before her trial, there was a hearing about those autopsy photos of Timothy, and she was presented with all of them, looked at them, and had zero reaction. Shady Shonda. She only conjured up that illness in front of the jury. She also claims that she was incompetent to stand trial. She says she was in a catatonic state. Or maybe she was guilty as sin and now was just looking for any excuse to try to get a new trial. Precious Timothy was so malnourished and so badly dehydrated. He was 5'8", that teenager, and he weighed only 69 pounds at the time of his death. That was on July the 6th, 2022. Can you imagine the pain Timothy must have endured physically, emotionally, and mentally? Just think about that. And the worst part of it is his own mother inflicted it upon him. Timothy deserved so much better. And his rotten, sorry excuse for a mother deserves to be under the jail rather than inside of it. That's my opening statement on this Tuesday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
I don't remember what my line of thinking was at the time. I was so tired. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't.
Were you tired at that point?
I was exhausted. The night before he passed, I had less than an hour of sleep.
Were you frightened at that point?
Absolutely. I just lost my son.
Case I was just talking about, we got child killer Shonda Vander Ark returning to the courtroom at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we will go in there live together once the hearing gets underway. In Wisconsin, we've got the sentencing scheduled for defendant Samantha Krebs happening at 10 a.m. She's facing up to life in prison after a jury convicted her for the stabbing death of her boyfriend, Joey Carnot. And in Florida, there is a pretrial hearing in the deadly dog attack case for defendant Amanda Franco. An 8-year-old was mauled to death by one of Franco's dogs. Court's going to start up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Right now, let's turn to your top story. As new documents are shedding light into the death investigation of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. She died on a Carnival cruise ship. Her stepmom now wants her child custody civil case to be sealed off from the public. She filed for a gag order in order to protect the privacy, she says, of her 16-year-old son, who is now being considered a suspect in Anna's death. In that same court filing, it was also indicated that the FBI was investigating Anna's death as a homicide. Anna's grandparents, who were on the cruise ship, spoke out on Good Morning America about the stepbrother.
He was in a room with her. He was the only one seen coming and going. So I can't accuse him because I don't know what happened in that room. But the summation would be that he did something. He was a good student.
Played soccer.
He played soccer, very quiet young man. He had demons, I think, in his past, and he was trying to deal with those.
Anna Kepner's cause of death is reportedly asphyxiation resulting from a bar hold. It's when an arm is placed across a person's neck. Her 16-year-old stepbrother is being considered a suspect, according to those court filings, but has not been charged. So I want to be clear on that. He's not facing any criminal charges as of this morning. Let's talk about this case. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Matt Timpanek and retired NYPD and Nassau County Lieutenant, also the owner of Houndstown USA, Mike Gould. Good morning to you both. Let's start with this investigation that continues progressing. Even though that ship has set sail on another cruise, we still don't have the results of what exactly happened and whether anyone is criminally responsible. Lieutenant Gould, tapping into your investigatory experience, tell us what you think is going on, please.
Yeah, so Julie, contrary to popular belief, cruise ships are they have a plethora of security things in place. They have 1,000 cameras, 1,500 crew members. They monitor every movement. Many of the wristbands on passengers track their movement, particularly children. So this case is going to be solved. Obviously, investigators got to go through a lot. The passenger pictures, right? Everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's partying. Everybody's drinking. Once these ships get out into international waters, regardless of your age, it's one big alcohol-fueled festival. So I think this is going to be resolved. I think charges by very soon, within the next 48 hours or by the end of the week, charges will be filed. It's not we know who is in the room. We know how the manner of death with strangulation, manual asphyxiation. So I think this is going to be relatively simple. As I said, cruise ships they watch every movement. You can't go anywhere without them knowing. Every public area is under surveillance.
You know, it's great to hear you say that, Lieutenant, because I think sometimes the gut reaction or the knee-jerk reaction, I mean to say, is, oh, geez, how are we ever going to have, any information here? And as you pointed out, there are lots of means of gathering information and tracking on cruise ships. So, fear not about that. Even though it's setting sail, all that digital evidence has been preserved, I would, presume. I want to play a clip for you both. This is again from that Good Morning America interview with Anna Kepner's grandmother, talking about the last time she saw her alive. Let's take a look.
We had dinner. Anna wasn't feeling well. She just said, Mima, I think I'm going to go back to my room for a little bit. And she must have felt better because she got dressed up and she came down. We were playing in the casino. She didn't win anything, and she said, Mima, I love you guys. I'll see you later. And we never saw her again after that.
Just so heartbreaking, that beautiful girl with her whole life ahead of her. Matt Timpanek, I want to pick your brain about the charges. Not just what many believe are coming for the stepbrother, indications or that, perhaps if anybody's going to face charges, maybe him. What about the parents? I would love for you to weigh in on whether you think there's any responsibility here, as there have been reports that that stepbrother was obsessed with Anna, just absolutely obsessed with her. And they were all staying in a cabin together.
Yeah, so definitely one of the things you got to understand is, it's like, what could the parents be charged with? Did they help cover it up? If this actually happened the way the police they say it is, as the lieutenant says, there's surveillance cameras all over the place. So if they've zeroed in on the stepbrother as a suspect, they have to assume that he was only the last person to see her alive and nobody else went in and out of that cabin when this happened. So when you think about the parents, what could they be charged with? Are you thinking in the realm of like depraved indifference, murder, or even involuntary manslaughter? Because you have a situation where something like this could have been potentially foreseeable. He makes advances against his stepsister, and then she rejects them, and you guys had him stay in the same cabin. That's kind of something like, did you guys not see that? Did not foresee something like this happening? So I definitely think it's not outside the realm of possibility. And I think that, like the lieutenant said, we're probably going to get a resolution in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent insight you're giving us, Matt. You know, I was thinking, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking endangering the welfare of a child. If you have knowledge that this situation may be unsafe, and that's, you know, pretty simple. But you really got me thinking about whether they could get to involuntary potentially. That's a great legal question. It makes you wonder. Obviously, we don't have all the facts, but thank you for that. I want to play a clip from the child custody hearing going on. So this is an attorney you're going to hear on this hearing, and who's blaming the boy's mother. So this would be Anna's stepmother, the boy's biological mother, for not supervising better. Let's take a look.
Your Honor, it's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old, was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay. Just a lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child or the other child involved.
Wow. Okay, so we're getting a lot of information coming from that stepbrother's biological father and his attorneys. You just saw, you know, because they're in a nasty battle over custody, and that's separate and apart from this criminal investigation the FBI's involved with. Lieutenant Gould, I'm sure your ears perked up, as did mine, when he's talking about the 16-year-old being permitted to drink by the parents and also staying in the same room as this beautiful young 18-year-old. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so historically, cruise ships, number one, the homicide rates, intentional murder rates are relatively low because of all the factors we talked about earlier, all the security factors. Suicides and overdoses are relatively common. So you have a 16-year-old who, and again, if you've been on a cruise ship, once you get into international waters, it's free flowing. The parents are partying, everybody's partying, the kids have access to alcohol. So I think when toxicology reports come, like most murders, whether it's manslaughter or intentional murder, there's always going to be alcohol involved in this for sure. 16-year-olds, by the way, they, you know, anybody who knows a 16-year-old, they all think they're smarter than everybody else in the universe. So they're pretty easy when the interview comes, providing they're not represented by counsel, which I assume they will be. They won't outsmart investigators, and they may even try to outsmart their own attorney, but it's not going to happen. So as sophisticated as they think they are, they're really not. So again, this is going to come to an end relatively quickly. Matthew hit it on the head. There's going to be culpability to go around for everyone, including the cruise line at some point.
Yes, great analysis, Lieutenant. Matt Timpanik, another legal question for you, please. Do you think stepmom is going to be successful in her petition for the gag order so that everything can't be talked about on shows like this one?
I definitely think in the state of Florida, what we have in family law cases is they are usually sealed from the public, like people's divorces, custody battles, because there are children, minor children involved when doing so. So I ultimately think she is going to be successful, but she's only going to be able to keep the cat in the bag for so long before everybody knows the facts when, if and when her son is actually charged with what I think will be murder.
Yeah, that's a great point, because we already saw the biggest bombshell. We already know that. You know, if they want to prevent us from seeing more records, so be it. We'll keep talking about it on this program. You both have given us such great insight. Happy Thanksgiving, Matt Timpanek and Lieutenant Mike Gould. We'll see you soon. Still ahead here on Opening Statements. Here's what we've got.